All right, now let's look at page 16 of your training manual, which says staff policies and procedures. I want to go through some of the staff rules, some of the important items for you to know, being a camp counselor and also part of the staff. Staff policies and procedures on page 16. Punctuality is important. Those of you who know me, I'm very much time-oriented. People being on time really matters. And a place like camp, when you have 225 people, plus the Frontier camp staff, so really almost 270 people, moving parts, we've got to be on time. We've got to have really strict schedules on this to make things work. So punctuality is important to everything. Everyone is expected to be at camp. All of the staff, all of the counselors, all the program team members are expected to be at camp by 1 o'clock on opening day, which is July 28th. Now I know a couple of you guys are pastors. All right, that's an excuse. But everyone else should be there at 1 o'clock. If you bring campers with you, you drop them off in the chapel. There are camp board members who are supposed to take care of the kids in the chapel, and then you need to be in the creation station by 1 o'clock on Sunday. For 1 hour, we will re-go over some of these items to make sure everyone's on the same page. And then at 2 o'clock, you'll be dismissed, and you can go register the campers that you brought from your church, if you did bring any. And then you need to be setting up your cabin, setting up whatever you need to be doing, running around. Because at 3 o'clock on Sunday is when registration opens for everyone else. Make sure you bring a watch or a clock. For those of you who live off of your phone, which is virtually everyone, there's this new invention called a watch. I highly recommend you get one. Even though you get a tan line, yeah. You need to know what time it is. And walking around with your phone at camp is going to be a hassle, especially when you're swimming. So I'm just recommending you figure out a way to know what time it is all the time. When you come to camp, you need to not be sick. So I hope and pray that you're not sick when you come to camp, because then we have to figure something out. So you can't come being sick. Don't bring any big bags of money or expensive jewelry or really expensive technology unless you're okay with it getting broken or stolen. So don't bring anything really valuable to camp as a counselor. Because we're a camp that follows Jesus, and we're asking you not to do drugs at camp, I have to let you know that, because if you do, then I have to ask you to go home. Our camp does not allow any alcohol, so don't be drinking alcohol during the week. Even if you go to Crockett, we ask you just not to drink any alcohol during the week. The only people that can be sexually active during camp are married couples. And the opportunity for that at camp is pretty low, even for married couples. So we're not allowing any sexual misconduct during the week. So if you're a counselor and you see someone and you get all, or in some way, why don't you tell each other, we will declare our love on August 3rd, which is Saturday, and do it at 10:30 a.m. once the parent celebration is over. But before that, why don't you focus on the kids? Excellent. All right. Okay. You will be given 2.5 hours of free time every day as a counselor. Use that time wisely to rest or go to Crockett or have some fun or fill out paperwork, whatever you need to do. So one thing that needs to be mentioned is we have a lot of counselors who are 17. If you are 17, you are not allowed to leave camp the entire week. Once you arrive at camp, you are not allowed to leave. You are a minor, and we have to keep all minors by law on the camp property until 10:30 on that Saturday. the 3rd of August. So don't forget, if your friends go to Crockett and they want you to go, if you're 17, remind them, I can't go. I'm so sorry. So have a good time. Buy me something. So again, remember, if you're under the age of 18, you can't leave camp during the week. There is medical insurance for you in case you get sick. The camp does carry medical insurance. That's secondary to your coverage. All right? Every counselor will be evaluated by the division leader. And so I will receive those evaluations. That helps us to know what to do for the next year when counselors want to come back. You're not allowed to receive any tips. If any parent comes to you at the beginning of camp and pulls you aside and say, hey, I want you to pay special attention to my kid, here's $50. You're not allowed to take it. If at the end of camp the parent's like, thank you so much for being, the counselor. Oh, here's $100 and a trip to Hawaii. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to accept any gratuities, any tips. Sorry. All right. Parents might come to the cabin the first day and say, hey, can I have your phone number so I can check up on my kids during the week? We don't allow parents to call. So if they call, they can call the Frontier Camp office and leave a message, and I will return their call. But don't give out your phone number. That's not your responsibility. You're supposed to be focusing on the kids, not on the parents. So let the parents deal with it, and you don't give your phone number out. Tell them you can have the Frontier Camp phone number if you would like to make a phone call. Okay? All right. Lastly, if you're a big social media person, we don't allow you to post anything with kids on it, which is pretty much everything at camp, on your own personal social media platform. So we can't have minors on people's social media sites. So we will have our official Covenant, Midsouth Covenant Camp Facebook page, and kids' photos will be posted, but you can't do that. We have certain people who are designated, and it's a private page, so we need to keep it private. So try to remember that. All right, this next page is 17, and it says Frontier Camp rules. These are Frontier Camp's rules for us. So they want us to make sure we respect camp property. Yeah. They don't allow confetti or silly string, glitter, sidewalk chalk. They don't allow any gum at their camp. So try to remember those things. So there's a lot of rules that they have about how you can decorate your cabin. They want only like blue tape that doesn't pull off paint. Other counselors know all the rules. So as far as decorating, we'll figure out what's the best ways to decorate at the cabin. They don't allow any water balloon fights or shaving cream battles, etc., except when it's part of the planned activities. And they only have certain places they can do it. One place is the rodeo ring, which is disgusting because it's full of horse poop, but we get to do it there if we want. The other one is called the Promised Land, which is over at Fossil Creek Camp, and we'll get to use that for the first time. It's just an empty field. Woo! Exciting, okay? So make sure to remember that. Trash is a big deal at this camp. They want it spotless. Remember, there's a rule. If Monk, which is me, if Monk finds 10 pieces of garbage, there's 10 pieces of garbage any day, we just close all the snack bars for the next day. So the campers are responsible, and you are responsible making sure the camp is really clean. Let's pick up all the trash. Let's see. Number 8, is the parking. Over at the main camp, there's certain areas to park under the flagpole over by the creation station. You can leave your cars there. I want you to do as little driving on the campus as possible. I really worry a lot that someday a child's going to get run over at our camp. So we need to limit the amount of driving as much as possible. So I really want you not to drive on camp property if possible. Park your car, and only if you go to Crockett, go back and forth. Over at Fossil Creek, parking is, more towards the entrance of the camp. So let's keep our cars way over there, and let's try not to drive around where the campers are. All right. Let's see. If you are a smoker, they do have smoking sections somewhere. We can work that out for you. Let's see. No guns. You can't bring any guns to camp. Even though it is Texas, I know. But no gums. No gums. No gum and no guns. All right. No personal pets. You can't bring Flopsy and Mopsy with you, or Fuzzy Bear, whatever you might have. Your pet iguana is not allowed to come to camp. There are people who live around the lake at the main camp, and so please don't go on the property outside of our camp. Don't go on the property of anybody else. No cabin raids. No cabin raids are allowed at all. So we don't have boy cabins going to another boy cabin and raiding. We especially don't have girl cabins raiding boy cabins or boy cabins raiding girl cabins. None of that stuff is allowed at our camp. Okay. I'm still going. Now I'm on page 18. We're supposed to be responsible to help with first aid. You'll be going through a little bit of first aid training with our Neil at camp training. But you're responsible to be the first person for first aid, whether it's a little bleeding problem or stomach ache or whatever it might be. We don't want to take our kids to the camp nurses because they're not really nurses. We're not supposed to take them to the camp nurses every little thing. We try to take care of as much as we can, and every cabin will have a first aid kit. And you utilize your first aid kit and be the first line of defense for any problems that the kids have. If they are more ill, then you will take them to the nurse at the camp. The nurse. They're just med techs at the nurse. Kids cannot have any medications with them. And you, as a staff person or counselor, are not allowed to have any medications with you. You have to turn everything in at the beginning of camp, all medications, and the med techs will have all of the medications with them, and they will dispense them. Okay? Make sure everyone in your cabin's at meals on time. The younger kids don't have a problem with this, but 7th through 12th graders, to get them to show up, especially for breakfast on time, is, have fun. Everybody's got to be at meals on time. Okay? All right. If anybody's out on a lake and they haven't passed the swim test, they'll have a certain color bracelet. They have to wear a life jacket. The camp lifeguards will make sure about all that too. Anybody who wants to ride a horse or go on ropes has to wear long pants and closed-toed shoes like tennis shoes or boots, because it is Texas. So remember that. Make sure that you bring at least one pair of jeans and one pair of closed-toed shoes to camp, so you can go riding with your kids or go rope climbing with your kids too. All right. They have a modest swimwear rule at Frontier, and basically, only one-piece swimsuits are allowed, not two-piece. If you do have a two-piece, you have to wear a shirt. I'm sorry, for girls. Sorry. Have to wear a shirt on the top. Guys can wear one-piece. I know it's gender inequality, but that's the rule of the camp. All right. And also, kids shouldn't be walking around camp in their bathing suits. Make sure they go back and change. Even, with the 7th through 12th graders, the lake is right there. And then we've got to try to kind of watch out for clothing stuff. Kids will come out of the water, and then maybe they'll go upstairs. And we just have to kind of figure all those things out. All right? And make sure everyone's always wearing shoes. I see a lot of kids walking around in bare feet. We get a lot of foot injuries, and there's also snakes at camp. So people walking around in the dark, and then there's a snake. That's not too smart. So make sure people wear shoes or sandals or something all the time. All right, thanks for watching number 2.